guys, today we're going to do Eren's 4-month baby update as well as a little bit of postpartum stuff about me. We just went to the pediatrician this morning. He just turned 4 months yesterday, so let's talk a little bit about what's going on in his little life first of all. According to the pediatrician, he is 15 pounds, 15 ounces, and 26 inches tall. So he's on the tall side of things, but he's kind of average for weight. It's 60th percentile for weight and 84th for height. So he's a little bit taller. He's not as chunky as Calvin was at this age either. So Calvin has always been in like the 90 plus for weight and height. Eren seems to be a little more on the averagey side of weight, so that's just kind of an interesting little tidbit about the two of them compared. But that's it for the pediatrician stuff. I mean, we went there, he got his shots today, everything was looking good, everything's going fine as far as the doctor is concerned. But I want to talk a little bit about just his kind of personality that's coming out. I know I mentioned in the 3-month update that he has just totally turned around. He's like super happy and such a happy, great, fun little boy since he's kind of grown out of his like fussiness, his colickiness that he had for the first few months. He's getting a lot better, and he's actually kind of starting to get on a sleep schedule, like a nap schedule. He's starting to actually get a rhythm instead of just like doing whatever he wants all the time. He typically will sleep about an 8 or 9 hour stretch at night first, and then actually the last couple weeks he's been doing pretty well in the early morning hours too. Instead of like in the past he would go like sleep 8 hours, wake up and nurse, then like sleep 2 hours and 2 hours, you know, like the early morning hours were kind of sucky. He'd just keep waking every 2 hours. Lately, he can sleep a little bit more in the early morning hours, which is kind of cool. That's definitely awesome. He's actually already starting to get a little distracted while nursing, which I feel like didn't happen for quite a while with our first son, Calvin. It just feels like it's like kind of early with Eren. Like if Calvin is sitting by us, he will try and look at him and like pay attention to him. He'll be nursing and then just like try to talk to me, you know, just like babble and giggle and like just look up at me and like try to have a conversation with me. He just is already starting to care about what else is going on around him instead of nursing like consistently for that entire session, you know? So he has been kind of different about nursing lately as far as, you know, like only finishing 1 boob instead of 2 of them because he's just distracted by other things and he doesn't want to lay around and drink for, you know, half an hour or whatever. So that's been something kind of different. And like I said, a little bit earlier than with Calvin, I'm pretty sure. He really does love watching Calvin. He's like lately really starting to get into just following people around the room, and like I think his vision is finally getting a lot better because he can like see you like several feet away, like across the room, and he'll like make faces at you if you make faces at him and stuff. And he just seems to be like caring about the world a little bit more lately. And Calvin, actually the last just week or so, I've noticed Calvin has been a lot more interactive with Eren as well, and he'll talk about him a lot more, and he'll like say stuff about Eren, like actually talk about Eren, say Eren instead of baby brother. And he like if Cal is playing with something, he'll come over and try to like show Eren what he's playing with. It's just really cool seeing them like learning about each other. Eren is working super duper hard to roll. What's the hard way? The hard way is from back to belly. He's been doing belly to back for a long time now. He did that pretty early, but he's working really, really hard on going from back to belly, right? Or belly? Yeah, back to belly is the hard way. I make it sound like really silly when I talk about it, but he'll like roll over on his shoulder and like sit there sideways for quite a while, just like really trying to make it over to his belly, and then he'll fall right back to laying on his back. But he's working really hard on it. I think he's pretty close. I think within the week or so, if we keep practicing with him, he could totally do it because he's working really hard at that. And that's kind of early if you ask me. 4 months old. I think Cal was 5 months old when he finally started rolling both ways. And that's like, once you start rolling all directions, that's when you gotta like really start keeping your eye on them. You can't just leave them unattended. They will roll all the way across the room. They will roll like and do whatever they want. That's when they really start like realizing that they can like do things. They're like, oh, I can get places. So like they continue rolling because they know that they can get places doing that. And so it's just crazy to think that it's already so soon. It's so close that he's gonna be able to be like going all over. He's still nursing about the same as he has been since he was born. When he's awake, he will nurse every 2 hours on the dot, even earlier sometimes. Like, even if he just had a bottle at grandma's and I go and get him, he still sometimes really wants to nurse with me as soon as he gets home. Sometimes he likes to take a little nap as soon as he gets home from grandma's. And that's kind of a difficult time of day because we're gonna be going to bed in a couple hours. Do I really want you napping right now so that you might stay up a little later, or should you just go to bed a little earlier? That's kind of a hard time of day because it's just hard to decide if you want him to keep sleeping or if you want to try and keep him up a little bit, but he does not like to be kept up intentionally. He does like sitting in the little walker thing. He can't touch the floor on our lowest setting, but we'll put like a pillow underneath him so he can at least like chill. He loves to sit up. He is not content if he has to lay down somewhere. He has to be sitting up and able to view things, but he likes sitting in there. Even big brother Calvin sits in there as well. He thinks it's hilarious when he sits in there and then he gets stuck and can't get himself out and he needs somebody help. And then he'll like walk around in it like he's a baby. It's like the silliest thing ever, but Calvin thinks it's entertaining as well. Eren's finally been into tummy time. He doesn't get all mad and angry and crazy when you make him do tummy time anymore, so he's finally getting into that. He's starting to reach for things, like he has one of those little like dangly things over the top of his car seat and he tries to reach for that, and like if you put your hand out in front of his face, he'll grab for your hand. So he's really close at like, it's just like crazy to think like how much they grow like in such a short amount of time. Like, he's only 4 months old and it's just literally right around the corner and he's gonna be doing all kinds of things. It's just, it really, babies are just incredible how much they learn and how much they can do in such a short amount of time. It's ridiculous. Like, even just looking at Calvin, who is 2 now, he turned 2 at the end of May, and to think that there's only like 2 years between these two people. Like, it only takes 2 years to go from this tiny little thing to a little person who's talking and singing and running around and climbing on stuff. Like, we went to the park today and Calvin was over playing on the play sets and stuff, you know, like climbing up the ladders, you know, going down the slides all by himself. And I'm like, a year ago, I never ever would have just let him go play on the playground by himself. I would have been there like huddled over him the whole time. And it's crazy. In just like a year's time, he can go from totally needing your assistance so he doesn't fall and die to being able to be really independent and do whatever he wants. It's just crazy. It's just mind-blowing how much they change and so quickly. But anyway, I think that's about it for Eren. As far as I am concerned, I am at 144 and I was 140 as far as weight is concerned. I was 140 when I got pregnant with Eren. So I'm technically only 4 pounds away from pre-pregnancy weight, but that's still quite a bit off from pre-pregnancy, like with Calvin, my first son. So I'm not where I want to be, but I'm getting pretty close and I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with how things have been coming off lately. But actually, honestly, at this point with Calvin, I'm pretty sure is when I started to plateau. After I had Calvin, around this time, I don't think I lost any more weight for like 6 months, or at least 6 months at this point. So they tell you that like when you breastfeed, it like helps the weight just like fall off, and from months 3 to 6 are like the best weight loss months. That did not happen for me at all after Calvin, when I was breastfeeding Calvin. So we'll see if it's the same this time around. I just kind of wanted to mention that I really struggled with that after Calvin. It totally pissed me off that the whole time I was pregnant, I was really looking forward to the weight just falling off because I was nursing, and that didn't happen for me. So if you are also on the postpartum journey here and the weight is not falling off for you, know that you're not alone. It doesn't happen for everybody. Breastfeeding still takes a ton of calories and a ton of your energy to make that milk for your baby. So you still need more intake. You know, you're not going to go back to eating what you did before you were pregnant, because you still need that extra bit of nutrition to make the milk for your baby. So it doesn't work the same for everybody. I just want to put that out there because it really pissed me off after my first pregnancy that I lost like absolutely nothing for like ever there. So this time around, I know that that's possible, but I still have my fingers crossed that we can continue to lose weight and not just plateau from here on out. But one thing that's different this time around postpartum is hair loss. I always read about it with my first pregnancy that people like, the hair would just like fall the F out. Like you would just be like brushing your hair and your hairbrush is like full of hair in like no time. And I didn't experience that after Calvin, but this time around it's real. Like you can look at my counter in my bathroom and it's freaking gross because I'll brush my hair there in the morning and you can just look at the counter and see like all these little hairs. Like all the time I feel hairs like on me, just like touching me. Like anytime I take my hair out of a ponytail, there's like tons of hairs. I have all these little like freaking crazy baby hairs that are like not big enough to go into my ponytail that are just like bugging me everywhere. They are driving me insane. That's something new this time around and it's driving me crazy. Another cool thing though about this time around, I feel by at this point with Calvin, my nails were like brittle and not awesome. Like when you're pregnant and you're taking your prenatal vitamins, your nails are like awesome. They're like really tough and like growing like crazy. Mine are still doing that. And I know that for some people, they have totally stopped doing that by this point. Most of the time, right after you give birth, your nails just go to crap, or so I hear, you know. It happened with my first son, but it's not happening this time. They're still pretty strong and cool this time around, so that's kind of awesome. Kind of random, I know, but postpartum updates are kind of random to begin with, aren't they? Oh, another random thing about me, see, I have a freaking hair on me like right now. We watched the movie A Quiet Place, and if you guys have seen it, it's not like super scary, but it's like stressful watching the movie. But I just kind of wanted to mention that here, and it's not necessarily this pregnancy related, but just since becoming a mom, I feel so much more emotional about like news stories where little kids get hurt and stuff, or like when we watched A Quiet Place, they have a baby and the monsters attack things that make noise, and I'm like, babies make lots of noise. So it was very stressful for me thinking that this baby was coming and that monsters were going to get this baby. Like it made me so worried. Like I was like telling my husband, I was like, I cannot watch this. If the monsters take the baby, I don't think I can watch this. So it's just weird being a mom, like, and feeling so much more emotional like for that kind of stuff. Like it really, I did not want to watch the rest of the show if the baby was gonna get hurt. Like it was really stressful. And I honestly, I never really was like that about kids and children and hearing stories or watching movies about kids getting hurt and stuff like that. That never really, not that I was, you know, not at all emotionally involved or cared about that. It's just that it didn't hit me like it hits me as a mom. You know, it's just like a totally different experience knowing that you have little babies and feeling the pain and the sadness for other mommies whose babies could be in bad situations. Like it's just a totally different thing being a mother. It's not necessarily because of this second pregnancy, but just I wanted to mention it because we watched that movie and it really stressed me out. That movie stressed me out. If you haven't seen it, I would totally recommend it. It was a good movie. It was a good movie. Don't worry, the baby's okay. The baby doesn't get eaten or anything. So if you were worried about that, you can go watch it safely now. Okay, I know that took a little random turn there, but I hope you guys enjoyed our update. I will include some footage of Mr. Eren. He's napping right now, but I will be sure to get him before we go to bed tonight so that you guys can see him here in the video. Because, I mean, it's fun for you guys to see how he's growing, you know, but it's really fun for me to be able to look back and be like, oh, that's little 4-month-old baby Eren, you know, because I love looking back at my first updates with Calvin for his first year. Like, looking at little baby Calvin is like, I can't believe how big he is. So it's fun for you guys and it's fun for me as well. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did like it. Let me know what other kind of stuff you want to see here on this channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye. Say hi, guys. Hi, guys. It's me, Eren. I'm 4 months old. I have the hiccups. Oh, hiccups. Hi guys, it's me, Eren. See my pretty eyeballs? We talk about them every update, don't we? See, I just woke up from my nap and I'm ready to drink a boobie. I need a new diaper, it is so full. New diaper, new diaper, new diaper. Hiccup, hiccup, hiccup. Hiccup.